Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wired-Tec. Today, we are kicking off a really ambitious 7-part journey, the complete history of the computer. But here's the thing, our story doesn't begin with a glowing screen or a silicon chip. Nope, it starts much, much earlier, with the rhythmic clatter of brass and steel, with the incredible dance of mechanical gears.
To really get our heads around the computer, we have to rewind the clock. I mean, way back. Past electricity, past vacuum tubes, to a time when the very idea of an automatic calculation was this revolutionary dream, powered by, well, clockwork.
All right, let's dive right in. For literally thousands of years, the need to calculate has been totally central to, well, to everything. I mean, how do you track trade? How do you figure out the best time for planting crops? You gotta manage numbers. And for most of history, our tools were pretty simple, basically just extensions of our own hands.
You know, we had tally sticks for the basics, and later on, the abacus, which is a surprisingly powerful tool for math. These were amazing, for sure, but they had one big bottleneck: us, the human being. They were only as fast and only as accurate as the person using them. And by the time the Industrial Revolution rolled around, with all its demands for precision engineering and navigation, that just wasn't going to cut it anymore. And that's where Charles Babbage comes in. He was this English mathematician in the 1820s who was, to put it mildly, completely fed up. See, the mathematical tables that were used for everything, from sailing ships to building bridges, were all calculated by hand. And because of that, they were just filled with expensive, sometimes even dangerous human errors. Babbage had this dream of a machine that could just take the faulty human out of the equation entirely.
So his first big idea was the difference engine, and this thing was designed to do one job and do it perfectly. It was a massive, special-purpose calculator, a mechanical beast of cogs and wheels, built to just churn out those critical math tables without a single mistake. It was a brilliant solution, but to a very specific problem.
But Babbage's mind didn't stop there. He pretty quickly imagined something way, way bigger. In 1834, he designed the Analytical Engine, and this was the moment. This was the conceptual leap that is the bedrock of all modern computing. He went from a machine that could solve one problem to a machine that could be programmed to solve many different problems.
And this is where you can really see his genius. The Analytical Engine. I mean, it was never actually built in his lifetime, but its blueprint is it's shockingly familiar. It had a store to hold numbers, which of course we now call memory, or RAM, and it had a mill to do the math, what we call the processor, the CPU. This idea, separating the memory from the processing, that's the core architecture of pretty much every single computer we use today.
Now, Babbage wasn't working in a vacuum. He was collaborating with Ada Lovelace, a truly gifted mathematician who saw something in the Analytical Engine that maybe even Babbage himself hadn't totally seen yet. She realized it had the potential to manipulate not just numbers, but any kind of symbol. It could go beyond just math.
So, to really get what she did, we need to quickly talk about this word, algorithm. Just think of it like a recipe. That's all it is. It's a very precise, step-by-step set of instructions that tells a computer exactly what to do to get from point A to point B.
I mean, just look at this incredible foresight. From 1843, Lovelace imagined the machine composing music. She basically said, hey, if you can represent music with symbols, the engine could process it. And in her detailed notes on the machine, specifically in a section we now call Note G, she wrote out a complete step-by-step method for the engine to calculate this really complex sequence of numbers called Bernoulli numbers. This wasn't just an idea, it was a workable plan.
And that's the key. That recipe she wrote is now recognized as the world's very first computer program, the first algorithm ever designed to be executed by a machine. And that right there makes Ada Lovelace the world's first computer programmer. Think about that. A full 100 years before the first electronic computers even flickered to life.
Okay, but that brings up a pretty big question, right? How would you even feed these complex instructions into a machine made of gears? Well, the inspiration didn't come from math or engineering. It actually came from a really surprising place: the textile industry.
Check this out. This is the Jacquard loom. It was an amazing device that automated weaving really complex patterns into fabric. Its whole genius was using a chain of punch cards to control all the threads. If there was a hole punched in a card, a hook could pass through and lift up a thread. No hole, the hook was blocked, and the thread stayed down. By stringing all these cards together, you created a program that told the loom exactly how to weave this beautiful, intricate design, all on its own. And then Babbage had this flash of insight. He realized he could use the same punch card system for his Analytical Engine.
But instead of the holes telling a thread to go up or down, they could represent mathematical operations. Add, subtract, multiply. This was huge because it meant the machine's instructions weren't fixed. You could change what it did just by feeding it a new stack of cards. And that was the birth of software.
So this whole mechanical era gave us these incredible, breathtaking breakthroughs in theory. The ideas for a general-purpose programmable computer with separate memory and processing, they were all there, laid out on paper. But all these brilliant ideas were trapped. They were trapped in a physical world that had just about reached its limits.
The simple truth is, Babbage's designs were a century ahead of their time. The kind of precision you'd need to make thousands of perfect interlocking years was just ridiculously expensive and difficult back then. And hey, even if they had been built perfectly, they'd still be limited by the simple physics of metal. They were heavy and, man, were they slow. To get any faster, computing needed to leave the world of cogs and cranks behind for good.
Which leaves us with a really exciting question. The concepts were solid, the blueprint was there, but the mechanical world was just too slow. So, what invisible force would humanity learn to control next? What could take these ideas and make them a reality? Running calculations not in seconds, but in microseconds, we're going to find out. Join us next time for part 2 of our series when we leave the world of gears behind and enter the age of the vacuum tube giants. It's going to be a good one. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to Wired-Tec so you don't miss the rest of this series. See you then.